Hello, my name is Catherine, and I am one of the 3 full-time professional tutors here at RimCAD. So let's get into the video. First and foremost, the most important thing to know is that every view and every component has a phase. If you click on the drawing area and in your properties it shows a view, if you scroll down to the bottom it will tell you what phase filter that view is in. Same thing with a component. You click on that component, you look in your properties, and it will tell you what phase that component was created in and if it was demolished or not. That never is untrue. Okay, so if you create several views and you change the phases to have an existing view and a new construction view, what is existing in that existing view is going to still be existing in a new construction view. The phase of an existing component, i.e. an exterior wall, does not change. It stays as existing. However, later on, you're going to then change, or excuse me, not change, but you're going to add interior walls to this project. And so in your new construction phased view, you're going to add interior walls and they will be in a new construction phase. So know that going forward, that is number one. And so here I am, before I really get into making sure that all of my views are in the right phases, I am first making sure that my phases are titled the way that I want them to be titled. I am making sense of which phase something is in and what that phase looks like and what that filter is. Okay, so to do that, I went to the Manage tab, Phases, and then I opened that first tab and deleted all those, or combined rather, all of those defaults. Then I did the same thing for phase filter. Those you can delete that you don't need, and then I created my own to suit my needs. So, i.e. here, as you can see, new construction, under new is by category. So whatever that component is, whether it's a wall, a toilet, whatever, it is going to show under new construction. Existing says also by category, because like I just said before, those existing walls, I still want them to show in our new construction. As far as demolished, I don't need demolished items to show in this new construction view, so they will not show. They are not displayed. Now, all of this sounds great. It starts to make sense to you once you start, listing all of these things. This is not tried and true every time, though. Just like anything else in Revit, there are caveats and ifs and buts to every scenario, right? And so I have noticed in the future, or in the past, that sometimes you have to just play with those filters and see what works best. All right, so here we're moving on to actually creating those views that we need, right? You never want to change the level. You always want them to stay as the original, but we're changing the name of the views, right? And so then we're duplicating, we're renaming, and then we're going to go down to that phase and we're going to change our phase for the view. So if you haven't realized yet, a lot of this is all like a before and after scenario in the real world, right? We have a project that a customer came to us with and said, here's this building, and I want to make it into an office building. So this is the before. right? This is the shell of a building that a client is coming to us with. And then we are going to do new construction and make those interior walls. So right now, we're going to check every single element or component in this project. So I'm clicking on every wall, making sure that it says existing. I'm going to click on every single toilet and make sure it's existing. Some of this is really tedious. Most things you can't click on and then do select all instances because it won't show you the phase. That's just an unfortunate effect of the way Revit is set up. And so you do have to do a lot of these components individually. So just be aware of that. It is tedious, but it will make your life a million times easier if you just take the time to do it now and double, triple check yourself constantly while you're clicking on these things and changing them. So right now we're in the existing floor plan. Our view filter is existing. And so every single element or component that I click on is going to also say existing. And then that will carry over even in my new construction view. Those will still all say existing elements. A lot of these walls, and you notice with the columns and things like that, are not drawn very well. I myself would do them very differently. However, it's because it's a Steelcase file, and they did things very specifically to their own standards. Obviously, these standards are not RIMCAD standards, and so a lot of these things are going to look very strange to you. They're not going to make sense, and they're not going to function in the same way that you're used to, because they are not Revit defaults, right? So just know that going in, that some of these things that you click on, some of these things that you try to move, the names of them are all specific to Steelcase, okay? As always, I always by default change everything to a 1/4 inch fine detail. It just makes everything easier as I go to draw. So a few things here, you'll notice that these doors overlap. You want to fix that. However, this CAD file does exist underneath this project. And so you'll see that light up, and you need to make sure that the stairs, the sinks, the toilets are all drawn in before you delete this AutoCAD file. And so it's nice to have it there because then you know where to place these things, but then you'll want to delete that after you're done loading everything in. All of these are default Revit items. Some of the sinks may not look the same size. That's perfectly fine. Just go ahead and download and place whatever looks, the best to you. You want to be using 3-dimensional toilets, not 2-dimensional. The stalls are in the specialty equipment folder, the specialty equipment folder, and then everything else should be in plumbing. And then the stairs are, of course, the stairs tool, which I will show that being drawn here in just a moment. But just get everything placed, get everything downloaded, get everything placed, and then delete that CAD file. All of these items are going in as existing, so you'll place them and always double check yourself to make sure that that does in fact say that it is existing. Since you're placing components in an existing view, the default is for them to also be existing. However, I always like to double check. And I always think it's better to grab a few of something if you're not sure, and then load all of them. And then that way you can, pick and choose through them. And if one doesn't work, then you have easy access to just grab a different one and change it. These stalls are wall mounted, or they're host mounted. and that host is a wall. And so that's why it was hard to place at first. You need to have your mouse on a wall, otherwise it doesn't know where to place it. So just be really mindful of things like that. Lots of components in Revit are host mounted. Lots of toilets, stalls, sinks, things like that are all wall hosted, whereas light fixtures will then of course be ceiling hosted. Some are also wall hosted if they're specifically sconces, things like that. You can obviously use your spacebar to turn those stalls in the direction that you need them to. Also, once you place them, there's the arrows to flip them if you need to. Okay, so now we're going to switch over to adding the elevators and the stairs. So as I said before, you'll draw the stairs, but the elevators are just components that you'll bring in just like you did everything else. The most important thing to know about the stairs is you're going to click, you're going to pull, and it will tell you how many are created and how many remaining you'll need. You do maybe want to change the width of that stair, and then you're going to move to the side a little bit so that for that landing, and then you're going to click, and then you're going to pull again, and you just want to be really careful not to be inside any of those dimensions or clicking on anything that you can highlight on versus just draw an open space. Okay, so everything in Revit is pretty much click, pull, click. It's going to tell you how many you've created so far when you pull. You're going to click to the side to pull the next row, and then it should say remaining 0 when you go to click the check mark for the stairs. All right, so thank you for watching the video. I hope that it was helpful and that you can continue on with your assignment with success. If not, feel free to reach out to myself or anyone here in the Learning Commons, and good luck.